will join during the lecture. And others will get the recording.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our lecture 38 conducted by Boris Petrovic. Topic of this lecture is consciousness technologies. This was my short introduction, and now I can give the floor to Boris Petrovic.
Hello, thank you so much for the opportunity to present the work that I'm doing here in Brazil and globally. We have started this partnership a year ago with the idea to join forces in promotion of some of technologies that are used to analyze the human biofield. My name is Boris Petrovic. I am currently working in Brazil for almost 6 years now, where I have funded the Nikola Tesla Institute. Today, we are in the new office of a clinic that we are setting up in the southern city of Brazil, Florianópolis. Florianópolis is a seaside, a capital of the Brazil state of Santa Catarina, and the first clinic that is having a prototype of a new GDV device that we are developing and will be starting to commercialize. Will be used here. So tomorrow we will talk a little bit more about the GDV Tesla technology, which is essentially a digital bioelectrography device with the software that we developed locally here in Brazil in the past year and a half. So I would like to introduce myself personally a little bit more to the participating group of the Human Light System course. I was born in Yugoslavia, ex-Yugoslavia, in the capital of Yugoslavia, Belgrade. And for the past 4 years, I have been working in promoting consciousness technologies through the Nikola Tesla Institute, which is an NGO that I founded as a founder with other members 4 years ago in the capital of Brazil, in Brasilia. And in the past 4 years, we have basically focused on energy technologies. So the Nikola Tesla Institute has a research and development laboratory that is located in São Paulo. So next week, in the next sessions on Friday and Saturday, I will be hosting this workshop from the laboratory in São Paulo, and we will talk a little bit more about the ideas, the science of Nikola Tesla, about his great vision of new physics, and at the laboratory maybe we can share also some of devices that we are working on in terms of research. We have some devices that are already available for the market. So the 3 principal objectives of our work are focused on research and development of new energy technologies in terms of conventional technologies that involve renewable energy sources and energy independence, decentralization of energy production and transmission. This is the basic objective. And the second objective, which has had very much a success in terms of producing prototypes, is that we focus on wireless energy transmission. So we have developed various devices based on Tesla's patents that can offer transmission of energy wirelessly at a short distance or a greater distance. This dream that Nikola Tesla had about a global system that can be used to transmit energy wirelessly in at least isolated localities of the world still has not materialized because of the hierarchical system, economical and social system that we have that inhibits the idea of implementation of free energy in terms of freely without charging distribute energy. The other part of our work that does not really relate to any energy monopolies, that relates to some devices that can offer energy transmission at a resonant frequency in offices or for some electrical vehicles, like electrical propulsion, also flying vehicles. We are developing in the laboratory. The third objective that is more focused on us observing human energy is something that we're involved here to explain in the Human Life System workshop, and also some particularities of the spiritual culture of Brazil have been very important for the expansion of the work that I have been doing in the past 4 years. And I think that Dr. Korotkov has also had much exposure through dealing with the International Union of Medical Electrography, with the groups that do research of human energy and retreats and many practices that involve healing and energy medicine in the past. So the Nikola Tesla Institute has basically grown into a movement, and our focus is not only on research and development, but also on elevating consciousness in a great wide public that involves opinion makers like government people, investment businesses, and also academics in terms of new technologies, with the overall idea that Nikola Tesla had of a non-Cartesian physics and science. And also in the past years we have involved many medical doctors as well as therapists to show solutions and technologies that have been developed abroad, like in Europe and Russia, that can be implemented here in Brazil. Brazil is a beautiful country. However, it is a country in development, so it lacks a whole lot of things, but this gives a lot of opportunities in terms of developing technologies and producing technologies for the Latin American market. It's our base in São Paulo, which is the largest market in Latin America, is also interesting in seeding whatever new technology can be applied. And I will show some of the basic principles and ideas in terms of science that we are interested into, and some of the research work that we have been doing, and also some devices that we have developed, like prototypes, and some that are already becoming products. And we are very open to bringing new ideas to the Latin American people. So it is a huge undertaking, changing of established paradigms and seeding new paradigms in terms of consciousness expansion And I personally believe that Brazil, because of its spiritual culture, can become a very important locality for new things to happen. As a European, I understand that the academic thought, for instance, in Europe has established points of views, and Brazil as a infant in many fields gives new opportunities to create new values and start some things that sometimes one cannot do in Russia or in Europe because of the well-structured ideas of the academia, and also in terms of enterprises that do not really especially focus sometimes on the things that are not material, that we want to share with the newly emerging technologies, focusing basically on energetic principles of being, vital energy, and consciousness. So as a kind of an opening, I think that was enough to present our work. Next week I will talk more about the Nikola Tesla Institute projects when we are in a different setup in São Paulo. But now I will start sharing a PowerPoint presentation that I have prepared for the event. The PowerPoint is on. Yes?
Yes, we can see clearly. It's good.
Okay. So we have four pieces of a workshop. Today we're talking about consciousness technologies. Tomorrow we go to talk more about the development of the GDD Tesla device. And on Friday the 12th, we will be talking more about Nikola Tesla and free energy. I believe that this subject also has a lot of interest and a lot of mystery around it, but we're trying to reveal what is the truth behind what Tesla really wanted to do and how he wanted to do it. And next Saturday, I will be talking about more on the Russian cosmist thought and the Noosphere paradigm about the planetary consciousness and how we are involved in terms of technology development in this area. So sorry, I have most of the slides in English, but some are left in Portuguese, so I will be talking in English about these subjects. So the first thing that I want to talk about, and which is the basic principle of all the science that involves the technologies that we're working on and that Nikola Tesla worked on is resonance. So Nikola Tesla has developed very many patents that not all are used in energy generation and transmission. He has written many articles about his non-Cartesian, non-materialistic vision of the world and the universe, and this is very important for us to understand and to bring these principles to the public. So Nikola Tesla as inventor of radio, which brought us to civilization, wireless transmission of information that we now, 100 years later, after his work, using our cell phones, worked with antennas. So the basic ideas of transmitting energy at a distance, be it as a short distance, propagating through a medium that is air, is very close related to also acoustic resonance. So the idea of transmitting energy via an electromagnetic pulsating wave is very similar to acoustic waves. So Nikola Tesla's ideas were intuitively brought to his mind by observing nature and the underlying principle of nature. He brought into working prototypes of technologies, and the science of antennas and transmission of energy wirelessly, he thought was very close to acoustic resonance. Every Tesla coil, which we also have as a basis of high frequency current generation that we use in bioelectrography devices, works on a specific resonant frequency. So here we can see two acoustic forks, and if we introduce mechanical movement, like if we touch one of the forks, it will start vibrating, and this vibration is propagated via air as a medium of propagation. And if at a distance we have another fork that is synchronized on the same frequency, it will start sounding. So this resonant principle is also observed in any wireless energy transmission device that Tesla developed and that we are also developing. In the past 25 years, many researchers have observed the human body as a bioelectric instrument. So we will now try to explain the basic underlying scientific principles of the human bioelectric instrument, and also how we observe the human body as an antenna. The work that Tesla had also in terms of electrotherapy demonstrated that every human being is of material nature, but also essentially of electromagnetic nature. So the science of the human biofield in the past years basically developed in Russia, and by our influence brought to the Western sphere, involves observing electromagnetic nature and discharges that are emanated from the human body in terms of traditional medicine, which is the underlying principle of calculating the influence of energy meridians and fluxes of energy through the energy meridians observed through the traditional Chinese medicine, gives us all the information that we are using in GDV devices, also in our device, to demonstrate the state of the energy of the body, of the physical body, and also the subtle bodies of human subjects. So humans are observed to have energy meridians. This is also statistically confirmed through many researches, and also through traditional medicine that is a millennium old experience of traditional healers. Human body also has vibrational centers in metaphysics and esoteric teachings. we can call this as chakras, but in terms of science and physiology, we like to observe the glands that introduce various types of hormones in the human organism that are related to a specific frequency of discharge. So the vibrational centers we observe as having influence to equilibrium of the human body, and we explore more on how these vibrational centers are influenced by external electromagnetic fields in the ambient of the human subject, and also how the human subject equilibrium of organs and organ systems is influenced by electromagnetic fields that are at a greater distance. Earth, magnetic fields, solar influences. So we are focused on how these vibrational centers are giving away hormones also, and what is the frequency of the functioning of these vibrational centers. We don't essentially call them chakras, but we focus on what is the unconscious part of the human body driven by external influences. This is a diagram of the basic display of what we here treat as the human antenna. The human neural system is contains the part of neurotransmitters in the spine, which also esoterically is linked with the energy discharges in the body. So whatever metaphysics brings us as intuitive explanation of natural occurrences in body, we try to bring together with engineering. I myself am an electrical engineer, so I'm not a physicist or a scientist. I'm a very practical experimenter. So I try to bring science and spirituality together, demonstrating basic engineering principles that can connect to whatever naturally, electrically occurs in the body. We, from medicine, know that there is a kind of a solution of ionized liquid that flows through the spinal column, and that this liquid is very important for the neural system of humans. Consciousness research is mostly based on quantum effects in the human brain. However, we want to observe the whole system, electromagnetic and neural system of the human being, and we try to bring connections with the basic science of antennas. Here you can see one very special antenna that is used to transmit information with a specific efficiency. It has a grounded circuit that through a primary circuit makes a pulsating a wave through a tube that has here ionized liquids like ions dissolved with natrium and chloride here. So pulsating plasma at specific frequencies is shown that can be able to transmit information. So we similarly observe parts of the human body as a type of an antenna with specific practices, spiritual practices, or even with some external influences, technological influences can be stimulated or analyzed. So the basic idea of the human antenna comes from what is a natural state that occurs in terms of transmission of information in between human subjects that we call telepathy. Telepathy in Greek means distant experience, induction of mental states from one mind to another. Many institutions have focused on technological telepathy, observing that we can use some kind of communication devices that can transfer impulses or codes via computer or internet to a distant location, but we focus really on human to human transmission and how our human consciousness can be stimulated to potentialize this naturally occurring phenomena in mediums. So we observe the sensitivity of humans as important to this altered state of consciousness. And even Nikola Tesla has told various times in his articles, when asked how did he get to create more than 300 patents, and how could have he been able to see nature this way intuitively, he explained that his body is a type of an antenna, and that every human being has this ability, so that only his body was more sensitive than other bodies. Next week we will explore more on how our energetic involvement with our environment is essential in transmitting and receiving various types of waves in various frequency that can lead us to explaining the overall idea of a planetary noosphere as a mental layer of the planet that characterizes mind and consciousness as a unitary phenomena. And we will also talk about how our individual and collective thoughts as waves every single moment, even when we sleep, are dispersed in our environment, and how this creates the quality of our environment. Some basic experiments on human electrostatics also show the importance of us having not only consciousness but also technologies that can measure fluxes of energy in the human body, and how these fluxes are inhibited or are improved. So here we show a very simple experience that is used in many cultures to synchronize biological clocks and hormonal cycles and physiological rhythms with that of the nature, which is basically involved with the engineering idea of antenna grounding. So if we humans are also antennas, if we ground ourselves and we leave uninhibited fluxes of electricity from our body to the environment, we are essentially able to synchronize and regulate our own internal vibrational state. So this is a simple experience of electrostatics of our organism that increases equilibrium, which is basically going around with no shoes. And our modern life has essentially cut us energetically from our environment, and we don't have any consciousness at all on how we are immersed in the energetics of our environment, in our even connection with natural cycles and natural electromagnetism of the planet. So here we show the electromagnetic spectrum. As understanding the electromagnetic spectrum is important to understand how we are immersed in this sea of various types of transmissions. In the modern world, we are circulated with various communication systems, our cell phones, our TV stations, all these antennas have very specific frequencies and wavelengths that are and also amounts of energy involved with transmission. Some frequencies are at wavelengths that can alter also cellular membranes of the body. For instance, the microwave transmissions have been proven that because of its wavelength being very close to the size of the cellular membrane, can have bad influences of the human energy field. On the other side, we have here very low frequencies, which are measured in kilohertz, that Nikola Tesla wanted to use to transmit energy wirelessly from 10 to 100 kilohertz, and that have wavelengths in tens of kilometers, which don't have this influence on the cellular membrane. So if we are talking about states of health and the human energy, we have to really understand frequencies and wavelengths and energy. Even Tesla said, which I quote always, if you want to understand the essence of universe, you have to think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. So many researchers have also collaborated. What Tesla quoted is that we are all made of light. The first important discovery was made by the Russian scientist Alexander Gurevich in the 1920s. He discovered and demonstrated that every living organism, including the cells of the organism, communicate through electromagnetic fields, and that these electromagnetic fields emit light particles, which are photons, that can be captured by the rest of the body. So he had an onion experiment that showed that if a specific tissue was exposed to radiation in the microscope, we can see an increase of up to 25% of number of cellular divisions. So he was the first one to show that electromagnetic fields have their influence on living organisms. So this science brought us to what today we call bioelectrodynamics and biocommunication. And this explains the phenomenon of how information is transmitted within living systems, and has been extensively studied also by the German famous biophysicist Fritz Albert Popp. So he discovered that photons provided a vehicle for which information was transmitted, and they transmit information within the cell and between cells, and that even that DNA of living cells stores and releases photons, and he called this phenomena biophotonic emission. I am sure that most of the people that are involved with the human light systems course are aware of biophotonic emissions that are natural bioluminescence of living organisms, and they all research in biophotonics, and that has been done in the past few years with high sensitivity cameras. For instance, in Japan, that has been done with cameras that are not essentially providing us a thermal image of the human organism, but biophotonic cameras that are refrigerated and that do not measure any thermal aspects of emissions of the human body, that is located in complete darkness. So with very special biophotonic cameras that are expensive scientific equipment, we can collaborate whatever we are trying to approximate through our work, for instance, with bioelectrography or other devices that we can use for measuring the human biofield, which is essentially this low glow emission of the human body in terms of biophotonics, but also we can use some capacitive sensors to measure the existence of the human biofield. In the 80s, a very important Russian scientist, Boris Petrovic which worked at the International Research Institute of Cosmic Anthropoecology in Novosibirsk in Russia, has made profound discoveries on how this electromagnetic principle of biocommunication is being transmitted by putting a cell culture which has bioinformation of an illness, and another cell culture which is physically and chemically distanced by a shade, so a type of virus infections, for instance, without any chemical or physical connection to another tissue, cannot transmit illness. But if this shade has a window that can release ultraviolet spectrum of radiation, in the laboratory of Dr. Kaznachayev, it was observed that illness can, as bioinformation, be transferred to the healthy tissue via this window that can release ultraviolet radiation. So the ultraviolet spectrum is very important for us to observe biocommunication as a natural phenomena, and this spectrum is also very important for us to analyze parts of the human globe and the human biofield. In the future, we are developing electrostatic capacitive and ultraviolet sensors that can provide real-time measurements, exact measurements that can be displayed in 3 dimensions for the human biofield, and not only approximation that we can calculate through energy meridians. Human consciousness and human vibratory centers are, as we told, related profoundly to ambiental electromagnetic influences. And in this sense, the Earth magnetic field is the carrier of this very important wavelength that involves our brain function and also the functions of our electromagnetic systems. Some 50 years ago, a scientist named Schumann discovered harmonics of basic frequencies that also Nikola Tesla discovered maybe 50, 60 years before the work of Schumann. However, he never publicized this research, so it was called the Schumann resonance. And also Nikola Tesla, with his idea of a global system of transmitting wirelessly energy, he has underlined in patents and his articles the existence of Earth resonant frequency, which he came to the conclusion by observing natural electrical phenomena in the atmosphere. So the Earth is basically an electric system, a global electric system that operates on specific physical equations. And the Schumann resonance and the idea of the Tesla Earth resonant frequency is important for us to observe the electrical properties of our nature. Today, radio amateurs and even radio astronomers use the Schumann resonance frequencies to show electrical and map electrical discharges anywhere on Earth. So we know if in Brazil we have an antenna that is able to capture these harmonics of the Schumann resonant frequency, we can display and map even lightning discharges all the way on the other side of the Earth, like Australia or even in Asia, with utmost accuracy because of the time that these waves are able to propagate through the Earth or through the ionospheric cavity, which is a naturally conductive layer that is located around 90 to 100 kilometers above Earth. Some ideas have talked about that Nikola Tesla wanted to use the ionosphere cavity to transmit energy wirelessly, but we will show next week that this system is more complex. So these harmonics are here shown as 7.8 hertz, 14 hertz, 20 hertz, 26, 33, 39, and 45 hertz, which are the basic harmonics. And our human brain functions in its states of meditation or normal agitated city accelerated function, mostly in this area from 8 up to 45 hertz. And we observe that they're beta, alpha, theta, and delta waves depending of our emotional state, physiological state, and here we see a meditating monk being observed by an electroencephalography device, which can show the activation of the human brain when the sensory system is deprived by meditation. So the ionospheric cavity of the planet um, has its basic frequency of 7.8 hertz, and it is connected to the wavelength, which is the circumference of the ionospheric cavity. So the geometry of the Earth's electrical system is connected to the basic frequency of the electromagnetic system of our environment, and corresponds exactly to the functions of the human brain. So if we have some type of occurrence that modifies the geometry of the ionospheric cavity, the flux of the basic harmonic of the frequencies change, and this can induce changes in human behavior. This has been shown in many researches that are connected to human collective consciousness, for instance. So for us, it is very important to observe the basic principles of antennas and our immersion in the electrical and electromagnetic system of the ambient to explain the visions and objectives of technologies that we're developing. So in the area of human energy technologies, I think that this slide probably is most important to show the strategy that I have developed. So we focused on 4 objectives, and we wanted to provide platforms for integrated analysis of the human biofield using various technologies. The first idea was, because I was starting to do this in Brazil, is to bring these technologies that were new and unknown here in Brazil, and set up various laboratories with the groups that are involved with the research of consciousness and energy medicine and the various types of therapies. Brazil essentially does not have its legislation and regulation observing these types of technologies to be sold as normal medical equipment. So we understood that is important that we go through research processes in universities that can provide documents that later we can use to commercialize these equipment and technologies, and also to bring order in terms of showing the efficiency of some types of therapies that involve human energy, and that we can provide a kind of method of certification as a seal that some type of practice statistically is proven to work with all this laboratory equipment. So then the third objective that I had is research and development of technologies capable of altering the human biofield in terms of not only curing energy blockages, working obviously with people that are already showing a type of illness, but working also with healthy people that wanted to be involved in improving their own energy state and going through maybe some research in as mediums or parapsychology occurrences. So this area also in Brazil is more dangerous to commercialize because it's inhibited. However, the whole spiritism culture in Brazil and the idea of energy healing is widely used. In Brazil, Spiritism is accepted as a natural religion. So the Spiritist movement has maybe from 4 to 10 million people that are signed as publicly as practicing this religion, and this provides an opportunity in terms of therapy, but not medicine. And there are hundreds of spiritist hospitals around Brazil that with some of these we have already been working to show the effects of healing. And as a fourth objective, which is really involved with our idea on working with conscious evolution of humanity, we wanted to bring all these new technologies in our living environments. So today we observe our living environment as a kind of a squared space that is essentially an electromagnetic prison. So I observed the potential in Brazil to develop new kind of habitation and living systems organized firstly as models where we can integrate all these human biofield technologies as sensors or devices that can from day to day show us our energy field, and also as a kind of a biofeedback respond to our energy state, so that we do not essentially need to leave our living space to go to a hospital or a therapist. I see the future as time where there will not be a need to go to a doctor because technology will be able to, let's say, as a live biofeedback, biocommunication with our environment already find what is outside of the equilibrium of our energy fluxes in the meridians or our vibratory state or whatever types of thoughts that are linked to some memories, for instance, that are draining our energy body. So in terms of our research in human biofield, tomorrow I will talk more about this, but we focus commercially, obviously, on the area of health. And this clinic here is the first to be using the GDV Tesla system. We located here because it is across the street from one of the universities, who's called Unisul, which is a private university and has had extensive research using Kirlian cameras in the past with naturology cathedra that they have in various types of practices. So we are focusing on bringing here not only people for analysis that can be used in diagnostics, but also to statistically demonstrate various types of therapies. And it is for us important to legally obtain various permits to sell, for instance, this device or other devices that are involving the same method of analyzing the human field, which also is Dr. Korotkov's, that can be sold by on the market as medical devices. Until then, we can sell these technologies as therapists and as therapeutic devices. And this is the second objective that we have is working with in the wellness area. And third, that is most interesting for me, is dealing with part of psychology and all things that are on borderline of understanding of science, but involves energy phenomena. So to talk a little about the future, we have a design here displayed of a kind of a holistic resort that is a space that we want to locate in a very beautiful nature landscape here in Brazil. Brazil is probably the last country in the world where the elemental forces of nature are giving us spaces that are pure in terms of energy, besides the national parks of Brazil. And because of its remoteness to urban centers that have many types of pollutions, not only chemical pollution, but electromagnetic pollution, where we want to deal with energy medicine. So we developed the idea of a holistic resort as a commercial enterprise, where also we want to have a small part of the land for the Nikola Tesla Institute as a kind of research area for atmospheric energetic phenomena and transmitting energy at greater distances. So here we show some kind of constructions of biodomes and some consciousness expansion domes and some chalets where people can be housed for retreats, and also scientists and researchers can come here and spend a month or 2 months as a type of a time-sharing experience, and also offering lectures for the public, but not only transferring ideas, but also transferring technology to Brazil. So our partners here in Brazil have worked a lot with bioresonance equipment, and this is something that is also almost illegal in terms of medical practice, but it is being used for diagnosis. And idea was really to use all sorts of technologies that can provide us an image of the human biofield, or locating with electrical impulses disbalances, inflammations, whatever is wrong with the body in one area which is remote, and where we can bring people from abroad for retreats. We observing the high frequency current phenomena that Tesla was working on, have focused on also developing some type of treating devices with pulsed electromagnetic fields, and one of these that we're developing is our multiple wave oscillators, which one is pictured here, basically connected to a high frequency resonating circuit in a type of a logarithmic antenna, which is the antenna Lakowski, that emits waves on various frequencies. So, observing a certain energy disequilibrium in the body, we also need to know the underlying frequency of the tissue involved. For instance, in bioresonance phenomena, we need to know exact frequency of any kind of illness and organ if we want to provide an image of what is going on, and if we want to treat in terms of electromagnetic current. Here, a wide spectrum of frequencies is emitted from antenna. We are also working with photonic emissions. Everything that we can connect to a Tesla high frequency oscillator we are using, and this is a researcher in Serbia. His name is Goran Marjanovic. He has this very interesting Tesla waves transmitter. Maybe next week I will talk a little about the non-electromagnetic phenomena that can be observed around a high frequency oscillator. So in terms of legal practice, in Brazil is accepted the idea of pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, and this is still a market that has been explored. It really lacks devices and the human resources to be able to deal with these practices, which are very, very efficient for edemas and fractures. This is something that we want to be involved with. So the ideas of psychotronics in Russia that show that illness can be as bioinformation transmitted from one tissue to the other, have also shown that cure can, as bioinformation, be shown transmitted from one organism to another. There existed, I don't know if it still exists, this device is called Biotron, which is basically bringing bioinformation of a healthy person to a sick person, analyzing through various devices and sensors, whatever electromagnetically or through light or non-electromagnetically, electromagnetically can be found emanating from the organism. So the work of Dr. Nikola Tesla, which is one of the very important names of Russian science, is very similar to the two ideas of Nikola Tesla that show the existence of non-physical phenomena. Nikola Tesla showed that he was able to transmit waves on speeds that are greater than speed of light, and many researchers today show that Nikola Tesla, with his high frequency devices, could emit types of scalar waves that are non-electromagnetic in its essence, and that the idea of superluminal transmission is something similar to the torsion field that has been shown as a type of flux, temporary flux that can travel faster than the speed of light by the work of Nikola Tesla. So this was the basics of research of Boris Petrovic, as also Dr. Trofimov in the institute in Novosibirsk, underlying the same principles that Tesla shown. And I will quote Nikola Tesla again when he said that science, when it starts to research non-physical phenomena, will evolve in 10 years as much as it evolved in the previous century of its existence. And I think that in terms of consciousness of these phenomena, we are very, very near in not only observing the existence of these phenomena, but also creating technologies that can be essential to evolution of mankind. And this is something that is explained by the Noosphere paradigm and the work of very many Russian scientists and Russian cosmists. This is here one device that is being used for the research of induced images from one sensitive subject to another at a distance. Basically, the work of Dr. Trofimov, Sibirsk, involved research on telepathy, with what we call the Kozyrev mirrors. Kozyrev mirrors are kind of devices that are used to decrease the Earth's magnetic field in an artificial environment. So the Kozyrev mirrors decrease the Earth's electromagnetic field by up to 600 times. And they are installed in such way to create a closed space in which there is a weakening of the magnetic field of the Earth, and thereby provides more access to energy information from the environment, be it from the Earth, solar, or even galactic information. So this research on the border of science is very important to also show what Nikola Tesla was talking about in terms of non-physical phenomena. So Dr. Trofimov showed the possibility of resonant teleportation of fundamental information, and the possibility of us as humans becoming a kind of a telescope in the Kozyrev mirrors, and also where we can involve and the potential of human consciousness and the human antenna to be able to even remote view worlds beside our own earthly world. This is another type of Kozyrev mirror, which I think is housed in Moscow by another group that works on research on remote vision and telepathy phenomena and collective consciousness phenomena, and another one. I think this laboratory is called Lotus and is in Moscow. Very important research in terms of consciousness phenomena, observing humans as antennas. This is a photo of Dr. Stuart Hameroff, one of the very famous researchers of consciousness phenomena. He is here having his brain stimulated by an ultrasound transcranial stimulation device. The transcranial magnetic or sound stimulation is shown to stimulate dormant parts of the cerebrum, of the human brain, that can in turn induce altered state of consciousness, or even stimulates parts of memories and brains that of the brain that are not used. And here this system particularly is based on the piezoelectric effect of crystals. Here in Brazil, our energy medicine resort that we are working on to establish. We wanted to put in this area that we have shown that has natural consciousness expansion properties in the ambient. I call it the planetary consciousness, a planetary consciousness zone, and it's located 230 kilometers north of Brasilia, the capital of Brazil. I have spent up to 1 year there, and there is this national park. They call it Chapada dos Veadeiros National Park. Its altitude is from 1,200 meters to 1,700 meters, and it is located on a crystalline basement rock that is almost 2 million years old. So it's one of the eldest geophysical parts of the planet. It even shows some plant species that are from this time. So in this area, you have crystals in the soil up to 40 meters in the soil, and this extends for tens of kilometers. You can actually walk upon crystals. It is very interesting that all energy healing groups from Brazil and all Brazil's gurus have their ashrams there, because when people go there, their antennas and their brains observe kind of changes that even the gurus don't need to do any kind of practice. People are already experienced their consciousness expansion and altered states of consciousness just being in this area. And from what I've observed, because of some frequent pulses of the ground, there are kinds of sounds that propagate from the piezoelectric effects from the crystals that really stimulate parts of the brain that potentializes the human antenna. Therefore, I call it the planetary consciousness zone, and this is the area that is of utmost importance for our research in also not only human biofield, but also in terms of natural earth electromagnetism, and will be our locality where we want to install the first energy transmission antennas that are able to bring the earth to the earth resonant frequency because of the conductivity properties of the soil. This was one of the essential engineering problems of Nikola Tesla to create a global free energy system, and this we will explain next week. So this is one of the photos of natural bioluminescence that has been done in Japan by a very sensitive biophotonic camera, Kobayashi Biophoton Lab. This is a scientific confirmation that we are made of light. I had really to show this slide as an image of a human subject in complete darkness. This is not a thermography image. This is not a thermal camera. It is a very sensitive sensor that shows non-thermal origin in the visible and ultraviolet spectrum emitted from a biological system. So biophotons show that we are made of light. In our research of healing practices in Brazil, we have also used the biofield Urer of Dr. Thornton Streeter. He was in Brasilia a couple of years ago, and we have used this technology in some shamanistic practices. However, it is not as exact as biophotonic imaging devices. It provides us also the ability to visualize live in terms of capturing through many hours, maybe a type of healing practice, and changes that are registered through light contrast on the contour of the human body. One of interesting experiments of Dr. Streeter in terms of collective consciousness was done in the UK when a group of meditating people was asked to focus their thoughts on a crystal, and through the biofield you were, there was shown again a non-thermal a change, but a change in the contrast of light, which physically is a phenomenon of influence of consciousness on matter. So our idea is to bring the part of the Nikola Tesla Institute that is involved with transmission globally of energy wirelessly, together with the energy healing resort at the same locality in Brazil, where a small community as a kind of a time-sharing space can evolve. When this evolves, the whole project evolves commercially, and it has its means to sustaining it in the interior of Brazil, 230 kilometers from Brasilia, where we want to apply all these technologies, not only commercially, to treating people that can come from all over the world, not only in this locality, but with other spiritism and shamanistic healing groups that are there. It's probably the largest concentrations of this type of practices in Brazil, and where we want also to focus on energy of the environment, on systems, habitational systems, water treatment systems, and that can really provide us an environment that is completely electromagnetically in resonance with the human energy body, in an area that is nearby one of the largest national parks of Brazil, with hundreds of waterfalls and beautiful nature. So here we want to create as a permanent housing for parts of the laboratory of the Tesla Institute, also to house some people that can be brought in for the retreats, and the idea of the holistic resort evolves on construction of various types of biofeedback habitats. One of these ideas is creation of interactive biodomes, where people that really spend some time there can be immersed in live feeds of whatever goes on with their human energy field when they come in and from out of some energy healing practices or shamanistic practices that are brought with spiritual groups from Brazil, for instance. So sound healing, meditation, collective consciousness, shamanistic practices, we want to bring this together at the medicine energy resort with the technologies that we are developing, and also others that are involved with the human light analysis, bioresonance, consciousness suspension. And I have still some more time, so I would like to talk a little bit more about our own vital energy medicine method that we're developing. So the clinic here has its own vision of integrative medicine in terms of treatment of patients coming through here to be analyzed. I want to underline that we want to make bioelectrography, digital bioelectrography in Brazil, something that is as common as X-rays and other types of medical imaging. So for this, we are involving research of firstly Unisul University, which is across the street, and furthermore, we will do this in hospitals in São Paulo. My vision with our vital energy medicine method is we started observing the human body as a free energy generator. I have passed through some experiences of feeding through light, and I am a vegetarian for 16 years now, and I have read also from Fritz Albert Popp and also Nikola Tesla about the idea of us humans and our human bodies also can be recharged as batteries via external stimulation through electromagnetic fields. So the great biophysicist Fritz Albert Popp said that obviously the organism is a light being, and that is why it is theoretically possible for an organism to give up physical food. Nikola Tesla has explained in one of his articles, 1901, talking with planets. So Tesla was obsessed about communication to extraterrestrial intelligences and also exchanging energy at greater distances. So he said, why should a living being not be able to obtain all the energy it needs for the performance of its life functions from the environment, instead of through consumption of food and transforming by a complicated process the energy of chemical combinations into life-sustaining energy? So here we have an image of a full spectrum of energy assimilation in the human body. So our idea is really on how, through light harvesting or other types of immersion of the human body in electromagnetic environments, we can enable mammalian mitochondria to capture photonic energy and produce ATP. Therefore, we observe the human body as energy. We observe the fluxes of energy in the human body, which are very important for our method of activation and hyperactivation of the human nervous system. And only then we observe observable matter as the physical body. So here we talk about something that we coined a frequency food and massless charge to heat transformation. And let me just underline that Nikola Tesla was one of the great scientists that believed in the existence of ether. And he said, I will quote here, all perceptible matter comes from a primary substance or tenuity beyond conception, filling all space, the akasha or luminiferous ether, which is acted upon by the living, giving prana or creative force, calling into existence in never-ending cycles, all things and phenomena, Nikola Tesla. So to observe the human body as a free energy generator, we need to understand all the physical principles that we talked about, which are accepted by science, and some that are still a mystery. But Nikola Tesla explained this more than 100 years ago, and only now we are understanding this. So, in terms of human evolution, the creation of a system that wirelessly transmits energy, which was the basic idea and most important one, obviously, of Nikola Tesla, to provide our devices like computers, cell phones, whatever, be recharged in an energy field wirelessly and freely without charging money or monopoly. But also, I understood that he knew about the existence of the human antenna and human biofield, and he was observing what lost civilizations on this planet already had created as a global energy grids, and he tried really to replicate this with the Tesla Tower, the famous Tesla Tower, which was supposed to be a resonance system that brings the whole Earth into resonance, so that even Earth gives a kind of amplification of the energy involved in the system, which is the secret of energy that we will explain next week. But that also we humans are involved in this system as a human resonance system. So we are developing various types of circuits that are involving high frequency transmitters and receptors that can turn our biofields into antennas. So we are focusing on wearable technologies. Some of these prototypes we already have. Some still need some time to evolve, but we are really focusing on providing technologies of tuning the biofield and therapeutic biofield and electromagnetic field therapy devices that we can not only have in a hospital or in our healing habitat, but we can also walk around with this in our clothes throughout the whole day. And we observe that someday it will be very important that we recharge our energy field via small antennas that are embedded in our clothes and also controlled via wirelessly controlled circuits that are involved with an overall global wireless energy transmission system, and that is something that is even further away from what Tesla thought. He did not really document so much of this. So in terms of human evolution, we are observing the idea also bioinformation exchange through this system and types of healing at a distance that can occur via wirelessly transmitting bioinformation with these wearable devices. And this involves the whole idea of the Noosphere paradigm and our involvement in the energetic ambient of the planet. This I will talk about next weekend. So this device here that we have as a prototype in the laboratory, we call the Kundalini coil, is related to some thoughts of Nikola Tesla on consciousness expansion. Nikola Tesla is a sensitive medium, has had various times when he is involved in the environment of high frequency oscillators that he, for instance, has different types of dreams in the night when he sleeps, and he had very many visions in his mind screen, and obviously some of the technologies that he had in laboratory and that we have recreated and have in our laboratory in Sao Paulo work with morphic resonance and interaction of electromagnetic radiation in living systems that can potentialize interaction of thought and matter. And this is something that I'm just opening as presentation. We are still involved with research with this method that needs to work with the fluxes of energy in the body, a type of physiotherapy, before we are involved with high frequency currents that can potentialize quantic coherence in living systems and open us more into the morphic field resonance as antennas. So this, I think, brings to the end the first presentation named Consciousness Technologies, where I try to explain some of the basic principles, physical principles, research, some quotes of very famous scientists. And tomorrow we will talk more about our GDV technology. I don't know if there is some more time, if somebody wants to ask some question. Hello, everybody.
It's also great that we are speechless.
Speechless.
Really nice presentation. Very nutritious. Very, yeah. We might pick up some questions for tomorrow.
Okay, so whatever you write, maybe tomorrow we have some more concrete technological development to show, some research, some results. This was just an overall exhibition of what I'm involved here in terms of consciousness technologies. I believe next week we will have some even crazier things to explain, which are still a mystery, a Nikola Tesla mystery, in a different environment in our 200 square meter laboratory in Sao Paulo. I invite everybody to come and visit our first GDV Tesla clinic in the city of Florianópolis in the south of Brazil. It is one of the most visited tourist attractions of Brazil. It is a beachside city, so we are starting our work with our GDV technology here, and we are founding a company that we are naming Tesla Energy, also here in this edifice, and which will be in charge with the production of technologies that we're incubating in São Paulo. So we are working on in the Nikola Tesla Institute as an NGO, non-governmental organization that has some open source projects that will provide the all technologies developed as open, but some things we still need to market, and this we will be doing here from Florianopolis. So thank you very much. Tomorrow we talk about GDV Tesla digital electrography. My name is Boris Petrovic. I'm the president of the Nikola Tesla Institute in Brazil.
Thank you very much, Boris, for your time and for this nice lecture. We're looking forward tomorrow.
If you have time, maybe I have a question or two. Is that?
Yeah, cool.
All right. First, in terms of your network, are you in any other Latin American countries? I'm thinking any Spanish-speaking countries such as Argentina, or Colombia, or Ecuador.
Okay, so Brazil is Portuguese speaking. All these other countries are Spanish speaking. I was invited to go to Colombia to give lectures, and I was invited to Ecuador. In a couple of months, I will be going to Mexico, and whatever is happening around my work has really become a movement. So the most valuable, let's say, movement I've created in Latin America is the free energy movement, and we have the best infrastructure with thousands of people in this network that are involved in also other countries like Argentina that you mentioned. And this interest is what is expanding not only the ideas, but becomes a kind of a market for technologies that we are presenting, and other partners also. Some things, obviously, as I said, we want to leave freely in terms of open source, where people can replicate some experiments maybe in their laboratories, and there are some in Colombia and in Argentina. I have seen some things in Chile, but not so much.
Another question that I had was in terms of the distance healing that you mentioned. Are you doing this strictly from a point of view of a meditative connection, or are you also utilizing some of the apparatuses you've built to increase maybe the magnitude of this connection that's allowing you to do a distance healing? I'm not sure if you understand my question or it's clear.
Yes. There are hundreds of healing groups in Brazil. This is connected to the Spiritist religion. The most, let's say, immediate effects that we have seen in terms of the human biofield was sound resonance and sound healing. So we were involved with the sound healing practitioners. We have tomorrow I will show one of our research with the GDV Tesla that was done with the crystal bowls healing, and still we have not published research with our electromagnetic emission devices in terms of influence of the human biofield or any effects of the Tesla medicine method that involves the cleaning of the energy fluxes. I expect that we will be starting publishing this from next year. This obviously something that we want to maintain still for a close group of people because of the very strength of the interaction of mind and matter that we were experiencing with this technology, and we think that this is something that has to be still protected. So in other terms of therapy, we were involved with various types of shamanistic practices, phytotherapy practices, vibrational preparata, how this is called, florals, Reiki. So in terms of meditation and acupuncture, we are scheduling some research with Tesla Bio here in Florianopolis and also in São Paulo, when we will have 3 or 4 or 5 devices functioning in laboratory controlled conditions where we can statistically prove the effects of therapy. So Brazil is very creative and very open to this type of non-materialistic thinking in terms of population, and because of its indigenous culture that brings various types of practices and ideas from the Amazon and its millennial inheritance. Still, the academia needs to open for this. But there are some, obviously, universities where we are already starting to involve our research.
And a third question was, you mentioned that you are working on some apparel, so certain wearable technology. Is that just at the prototype stage, or are you already beginning to produce these? Maybe I missed if you answered it before, so I apologize.
Okay, I will be the first guinea pig for this. So I still don't have a working prototype to walk on the street with, but we are in the laboratory creating a resonant transmission system where we want to have tens of meters of a high frequency energy field. And when we have this infrastructure there in São Paulo, which I will show parts of it next week, ready, then we can start working with the materials and whatever is wearable, where we will have, let's say, high frequency oscillation external in the field that we can use in doing whatever with the energy body, subtle body, or even the physical body. So it somewhat relates to the infrastructure. We do not want to walk with many circuits that have batteries for our clothes. We want to have energy source the way Tesla wanted to have it, which is wirelessly.
Thank you.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, let's call it a day, and then tomorrow we continue with some more concrete display of technology.
Sounds good. We'll see you tomorrow then, Boris.
Thank you so much, and give a hug to Dr. Korotkov. We are respecting him. here at the beach in Florianopolis. Wonderful beach.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.